Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, Yuji was reincarnated as a tamer and found several slime that he would come to tame, quickly learning several skills in the process. Yuji would later defeat a group of cloaked men that were threatening to destroy the earth, but would gain the attention of some dangerous people for doing so. The story continues as the mysterious pair of assassins seek out their target. The woman explains that she plans to torture him if he tries to fight back, and the man finally spots him. Their target is Yuji, and we learn that he has been moving carefully since finding out he is on a hit list. It was recommended that he head to Bogemia to find a master craftsman since the town is known for its exceptional monster armor. Everyone is excited to head there just as one of Yuji's slime reveals that they are being followed. He is well aware though, and the assassins would later be surprised to see Yuji just relaxing. The woman explains that Yuji is still only a prospective target and warns the man not to touch him or he will die by her hands. The man explains that they should be eliminating other targets, but the woman wants to make sure Yuji is no threat to their cause first. They are members of the Blue Moon of Salvation, and Yuji decides not to fight them as that will only bring him more unwanted attention. The assassins then watch as Yuji arrives to the village and finds the master craftsman. Yuji clearly can't afford the high prices and is forced to leave. Yuji would then go on to do several things that make it clear to the assassins that he is not a very good traveler. This includes pretending to use his tamer skills to have slime search for coins on the ground since he is so poor. Being drunk doesn't convince them either, so Yuji registers for a mission. He tells his crew that they won't be using offensive magic and instead will be relying on his tamer skills alone. Yuji is still trying to convince the assassins he is no one special and sends Wolfie in to fight. Wolfie is terrified as always but surprises himself when he manages to take down a bull. His long-lost courage has returned, and Yuji remembers when he first met Wolfie. Yuji could tell that he was only pretending to look dangerous, and sees that he was right when Wolfie begged for his life after being captured. The crying and groveling worked as Yuji decided to tame him, and he now wonders if Wolfie was ever actually strong. The assassins watch closely as Wolfie beats down on his opponents, and they begin to think that Yuji is a strong tamer. However, that's the opposite of what he wants, so Yuji heals the bulls. More healing convinces the assassins that the wolf isn't strong enough to defeat the beast, and they decide Yuji is weak. Yuji is glad to hear this, but Wolfie is more determined than ever. Yuji wants to end the fight, so he gives the bulls a power boost, but begins to think he may have overdone it. He wants to balance the fight just a bit by boosting Wolfie, but Wolfie declines and claims that he now fights for the pride of all wolves. Wolfie is victorious, and the assassins determine that it took them way too long to defeat such boring opponents. However, one of the bulls attacks Yuji, and he has no choice but to defend himself. The assassins are stunned to see a sword come from nothing, and everyone holds completely still. The assassins grow more skeptical every second, but for some reason decide that Yuji is not a threat. Yuji calls back his slime, but one of them points out that they are still talking. The assassins discuss their next target, and it is a certain priest. The assassins report back that Yuji is not a threat, but the voice speaking to them explains that a new threat has appeared. He explains that Messias has fallen and the cleansing flame has been used. It is unclear if their next target is responsible though. The two talk more and reveal that their next target is a friend of Yuji's, Father Style. Yuji decides that these two are far too dangerous to let roam free. He freezes them and wonders why they would possibly want to assassinate a priest. The next day, Yuji returns to the craftsman's shop and explains that he has money this time. He would like monster armor for his monsters, and Master Craftsman Giggle gives them a once-over. After a moment, Giggle scolds his assistant for pushing Yuji away and explains that they are the strongest customers that they have ever had. Giggle apologizes though, since he doesn't have armor for monsters of their high level, and Yuji is surprised to hear his slime are really that strong. Giggle says that he could forge armor especially for them, but there is only one problem. Giggle explains that they don't have the materials to create armor for such powerful monsters. Yuji believes that the armor is out of the question then, but Giggle states that he only needs to find strong enough materials to suit them. He shows Yuji a lesser fire dragon jewel that you get after defeating a lesser fire dragon. It is the very best stuff that can be found in the market. Armor made from it would hardly hold up under the strength of Yuji's monsters though. The more rare blue lesser fire dragon might be able to result in better armor, but Giggle explains that even the most experienced group of dragon hunters have failed to get one. They are hard to find and even harder to beat. Yuji heads out in search of one, but wonders about just normal fire dragons. Giggle explains that he has never heard of anyone taking one down in all his years. Yuji heads to the guild and decides he might as well take on all the jobs that require taking down lesser dragons. The girl thinks he might be doing too many, but Yuji states he will just use magic or something. She interjects again and explains that magic doesn't work on them. They are usually defeated by using water, but trying to take large amounts of water using magic requires extreme magic reserves. Furthermore, travelers will have to cross a dangerous river to get to the mountain. Yuji wonders if the volcano is dangerous and is surprised when his slime say they will just ask. They find a red slime and explain that it says the volcano is fine. They then arrive at the dangerous river that has piranhas that will pull you to the bottom if it gets a chance. He has taken on the job of capturing one as well and uses his new and old slime to make a net. This actually puts them in a pretty dangerous spot, so the slime run for their lives when they find a piranha. Yuji manages to freeze it, but it's not done fighting, and Yuji has no chance but to use a fireball to end it. They approach the mountain and his slime are too busy socializing to notice the dragons up ahead. The slime are too terrified to move, so Yuji tests out some water on one of the lesser fire dragons. It works perfectly and the slime grow a bit more confident. They go on to defeat several others, and one of Yuji's slime reveals that they have found a blue one. He heads to it immediately and determines that it is exactly what he is looking for. Yuji instructs his slime to surround the dragon, and he spell transfers his water cannon to them. It isn't enough though, so Yuji attempts a combined medium frost spell. After a moment, the dragon feels the effects and releases its jewel. One of his slime casually eats the dragon, and the group continue on fighting as many dragons as possible. Yuji returns to the guild to turn in the job forms, and the girl questions if he really eliminated 202 lesser fire dragons. His capture of the piranha also reveals that the fish is behaving strangely since it was at the bottom of the river instead of on the surface. Giggle is shocked to actually see the blue lesser dragon jewel, and even more surprised to hear that Yuji did it with only the help of his monsters. Yuji then explains that he wants 2 pieces of armor and shows all the jewels he retrieved. The jewels are of really high quality as well, without a blemish in sight. They get to work immediately, and Yuji returns the next day to see the results. It's Giggle's finest work, and he asks that they try it out. Wolfie demonstrates just how much faster he has now become, and one of the slime does the same. Yuji wants to give the armor a boost of magic, and finds that it takes their new speed to a whole other level. Yuji expresses his gratitude, but Giggle explains that there is more to test. The craftsman is right, and Yuji uses his spell transfer to reveal that it has been greatly boosted as well. The men are shocked at such overwhelming power, and Yuji asks that they keep it a secret. Giggle would later explain that his spell came close to breaking the armor, and he would need stronger materials if Yuji wants something to hold up better. It would have to be a fire dragon, but no one has ever defeated one of those. Yuji thinks about how dangerous the dragon might be when he is informed by his slime that the lesser dragons are out of control. He sends Wolfie to find if there is anyone suspicious there, and they see that a pair of people are walking about. There is more danger though, as lava comes out of the volcano and an absurdly large fire dragon shows itself. Yuji asks for updates on this situation, and his slime explained that the 2 men are headed towards the fire dragon. Yuji listens in on them to find that they are very confidently going after the fire dragon. The men discuss how someone of Odarion told them that everything would work out, and Yuji attempts to capture them. They are not amateurs and believe there might be a spellcaster nearby. They determine it must have just been a monster trap, and Yuji tries again, but from behind this time. The second attempt fails as well, and this time one of the men managed to strike a slime. Yuji finally captures them with his net though, and the 2 men take their own lives. It's clear now that they are part of the Blue Moon of Salvation, and Yuji wants to inspect the barrels. The water feels similar to the cursed stones they found earlier, and Yuji decides to consult with Dryad. She explains that the water is cursed, but not nearly as strong as the stones, and will have no chance of hurting the fire dragon. However, an awful curse like that one would definitely get its temper flaring. Yuji cleanses the water, and Dryad heads home. The dragons begin to group up, and Yuji is told to head for safety since rain will begin to fall at any moment. Soon after, it begins raining, and everyone can see that the fire dragon is furious. We then see that Yuji waits atop a rock for the fire dragon. He had been told that the fire dragon had only emerged from the volcano while it was raining once before. Enraged by the rain, the fire dragon bathed the entire city in flames. The people in the city have lost all hope, and Yuji states that he must stop it. He thinks about how 2 rivers are between the dragon and the town. Wolfie is sent to observe how the dragon handles the first river, and the slime are shocked to see that the water is evaporating. The dragon doesn't stop though and just jumps right into the river. The fire dragon seems completely unfazed by the water, and Yuji wonders how much more water it would take to defeat it. The dragon clearly has no intentions of stopping, so Yuji decides it's time to begin the fight. Yuji initiates the fight by spell transferring to his newly armored slime, and they manage to freeze a leg. It is easily broken though, and Yuji attempts a combined spell transfer. Of course that doesn't work either, and only manages to irritate the dragon. Yuji continues trying, but determines that it is too dangerous to draw the fight out any longer. The slime are concerned as the dragon walks through the second river, but Yuji explains that they did exactly what he needed. He then releases the barrier that had been holding back the flow of water, and it all comes rushing onto the dragon. Wolfie goes to find that the dragon has been defeated, but is quickly startled when it gets up. Its flames nearly kill Wolfie, but Yuji manages to put a barrier in time. The dragon prepares another fireball, but this one is bigger than ever. It seemingly wants to burn the entire city, and Yuji finds a spell that costs him a lot of magic power. It's called the Ultimate Permafrost Curse, and it manages to push back the dragon's attack while also freezing it. The fire dragon is finally defeated, and Yuji admires the large fire dragon jewel. His slime point out something else nearby, but no one can tell what it is. Yuji returns to the craftsman and reveals that he has obtained the rare jewel. Yuji doesn't want anyone to know that he defeated the fire dragon, and tells Giggle that it was just a large lesser fire dragon. Giggle understands this and heads off to make armor from the jewel. Later, Yuji gathers information on the city of Odarion. It's a place that values their privacy and doesn't like to be bothered. Yuji has one more question and wonders if she knows anything about the object they found. She does actually, and explains that it's one of the guild's artificial rain machines. It is used to make rain during time of drought, but the guild tag is missing. Yuji then remembers the two guys' discussion and wonders if someone in Odarion is responsible. The next day, Yuji returns to the craftsman, who explains that the armor he created from the fire dragon jewel is a legendary grade. Yuji wants to try it, but Giggle warns against it since it may be too powerful. Giggle is curious about his name, but Yuji explains that he is trying to keep a low profile. Elsewhere, we see that a mysteriously cloaked man begins an incantation. It is successful, and the man states that with death is born the sage. Thanks for watching part 3, all other parts will be in a link comment below.